They let me in easily because they thought I was a villain. They didn't even consider.
And I told him, he's like,
right? And then once I'm in, I just other person comes up to me and says, buy my books.
Excuse me, do you know where the area would be where they have merch and everything, merch tables or?
it's not. I don't think they have any today. Tomorrow, it actually starts.
Oh, okay. So today's just a kind of a
Yeah,
warm
they're
up.
setting up everything. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Thank you. Hi.
Greatest of all time. Let's go. No, but no.
I'm gonna have the alley friend right there. Yeah.
Do we all have Allie beside us?
Unless I'm kind of tired, girl.
It'd be like that. Like we're also like. Because he got
If you see him, you're either gonna know him or you're not.
Have you guys high school?
can hit the arrow before you're done after eating cheetah.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, love this
I know, right?
shirt.
What a coincidence.
Yay! Do you want to play the game and you want to try to win some free pizza?
Sure. How do you play?
So as we know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles' favorite pizza is Pizza Hut. And so all you have to do is scan the QR code on your phone.
Okay, yeah.
And then that'll lead you to a virtual reality, augmented reality style game.
Oh, cool.
Where you can play and try to find more of these manholes all around the convention center. And you feed them, and then turtles will pop up out of these manholes. And then you feed them pizza. And the more pizza that you feed them, the more turtles that you find. If you find all 4 of them, then that increases your likelihood of winning free pizza.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm definitely down. Yeah.
Good. Heard about us?
Just now, actually.
Zoomerang, video creation platform. It allows to create trendy videos with this kind of templates.
Okay.
So yeah, we are quite big, 35 million downloads in 190 countries.
Oh, cool.
And our uniqueness is the templates. We have integrated AI trendy features within the template.
Oh, wow.
And you can create this kind of video without any editing skills, just in 10 seconds.
Dang.
Wanna try? You look great, for these templates. You can get.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Just put your stuff there. But you can't wait.
you have to guess the weights because they're going to be very dynamic and anchor yourself more in like, well, what are those contexts that people might be in, and how can I meet the people in those contexts with content that's going to resonate, whether they're in a snacking mood or more of a like lean back and go deep on it.
Definitely, like a creator, that like terrifies me. But like, I just need a number. That number needs to tell me exactly what to do. But like, I think at the same time it's liberating because it gets down to when you're talking about satisfaction, where because like audiences are complex, and audiences' taste shift and move. You said that the algorithm follows the audience, but also creators have to follow the audience because their tastes are going to change over time. Different perspectives are going to come up. People are going to want to consume different types of content. People maybe started watching you at 13 or now 16 or 18 and their tastes are different. And so like, we can't stop either. But I think it comes down to the foundational principle of figure out your audience, figure out what your audience loves, and then give them more things of yours to love.
Yeah,
to be part of kind of fell apart, and we were like, okay, well, this group of friends did not work out. Let's see if we can try to do it on our own. I very quickly took to building all the like graphical stuff. Later on in 2018, when Roblox started introducing translations, I was already like more into the English side of things than the Polish side of things, and I decided, you know what, there aren't many.
The first, there's sort of like a stage you get, you all talked about it a little bit, where there was, I play games, now I'm making games for myself. Then there's this jump of, I'm gonna make games like in a professional capacity, like there's gonna be some sort of money exchange. Like, can you talk a little bit more about what that was, how you made that leap and what it was like?
Yeah, so getting from, I guess, the hobby points to actually taking it to the more professional, where you're making money and actually making salary and making a living off it, it was a bit of a jump because, I was on Roblox for 15 years, and many of those years I was doing commission work and I was building for people, but didn't seem profitable enough until I was able to connect with the right people, such as GameFam and the other studios I have worked with in the past, and they really helped me network with different brands, different partners, different, work on different concerts, makes it feel so real. It takes it from, making Lego to, I'm actually working with some of the biggest brands in the world to create really cool events. And it kind of destroys the imposter syndrome that you sometimes feel working on Roblox as a developer. Maybe I'm not a real developer, but it's not true at all. It's just as real as anything. And work we do with these different brands and IP is just phenomenal, and it's cool people to use it on the platform and see how the platform has grown from, it's just a hobby to now you can actually make a professional career with it.
Anyone else want to take up that part of the question?
Yeah, so my experience, to be honest, is it's very similar to working independently, just with slightly more structure. Before I joined GameFam, I was independent for around 3 years, I want to say, working on my own games. And over those 3 years, I want to say I only released maybe one project, even though I was working on maybe 3 or 4 different games. And the problem with that is I was just a perfectionist in my own time, so I could spend an unlimited amount of time working on one thing and just deciding, it's still not good enough to release, and I just, I'll keep it a little bit longer and then release it. That's a blessing and a curse, because in an actual corporate setting, you don't have time to just keep waiting. You have to learn how to meet deadlines and approach things from a more logistical standpoint. When you're your own boss, it's really easy to just, it's nice you can sleep in and you can stay up late, and as long as you're getting your work in, you're being productive, but it's just nice to have a little bit more structure. The money obviously is nice coming in, but one thing I want to emphasize is if you are doing something like game development, I really believe it has to come from a place of passion, because I went a long time before I got any monetary gain from it. And like I said, it feels exactly the same now that I work for a company. So you really just need to love what you do, and then you will bear the fruits of your labor.
Pauline, any sort of specific advice? Paul talked a bit about things that he learned. Vincenzo talked about programs and programming languages that he learned. Anything specific about, generally, you say if you want to give to your younger self and say, hey, I wish I knew this sooner.
Definitely don't be scared of experimenting. it took me a very long time, very winded path, and like many different options that I tried to do that did not work out, that just led me here. I started off at GameFam as a 3D artist. The project I was on, unfortunately got canceled. There was a lot of opportunity.
It happens a lot.
It happens a lot, yeah. There's a lot of, how do I say it? There's a lot of opportunities for us to like go into many different other directions, and thank God for my producer, being very patient with me as every single day coming in like, hey, I think we could be doing this and that and this. So one day he just approached me and was like, hey Paula, why don't I try to like, put you into the production side of things so that they can at least pay you to complain to me. And yeah, so like, just try it out. Like, I started off as a 3D artist, did translations, 2D art, 3D art, Frank coding, I can't do your job, I'm sorry. But yeah, you just gotta try, and eventually you'll just learn somewhere.
Paul, any particular tips in terms of like things that younger developers coming up should be thinking about?
The biggest thing, there's a lot, but like I would say shoot your shots and like reach out and ask, because the worst thing they can do is say no, but then the best thing they can do is have a conversation with you. And the most meaningful and most growth that I've ever had is by trying just to have a conversation, ask the right questions, and just know what you want to learn from them. The more you can put into the question, the more you'll get out of the question. So just give it a shot, you know what I mean? Just reach out. Twitter is very accessible. People walking around here is a perfect example. Just reach out and ask them, like, hey, what do you do? Introduce yourself. And because when I started, I was super shy, and I was always like, what's the point of even bothering? They're going to say no, but like, if you don't try, they're always going to say no, right? So that's the best thing, is give it a shot, ask.
Yeah. And typically add on to also the places where to reach out. Roblox has many great places to reach out to. There's the Dev Forum, it's a very public space operated by Roblox where you can ask development questions specifically. There's Twitter, like Taylor mentioned, and Roblox has, specifically the development community, has many great Discord servers, gilded places that you can just be in and just ask questions. And there are many people who are very much willing to help if you just ask for it.
And I think also just to add on to that is like everyone on Roblox is usually there just to have fun and make games. It's not impossible to find a couple friends and make a game. You don't have to pay people's salary to help you out. It's like, hey guys, let's do something fun and let's just put something together. That's how I think pretty much all of us got into it for the most part, and that's usually what we continue to try to do, is just have fun with it and find what you're passionate about. You're not going to be good at everything, but don't be afraid to try everything, because you never know what you're going to be good at and how good you're going to be at it. Like if someone says we good 3D modeling a couple years ago, I probably would have been like, I don't know, we'll go back lately, but you just gotta keep putting yourself out there and trying different avenues. Like I think everyone has said here collectively is essentially, we've all tried different things, we've learned what we're good at, what we like, don't like, do what you like, do what you enjoy.
Yeah, by the way, I mean, I think all this stuff that you guys are saying really applies. I've met, again, all kinds of developers across many different platforms, and applies to everyone. Everyone starts off in these ways, and like Taylor's point, most people start off as a group working together, trying to build something that they're just passionate about, right? So I think now we're going to dig a little bit more into the specifics of Roblox a little bit. And just, Roblox is a very different platform than other game platforms in terms of its user preferences and which games actually resonate with that community. How do you each think about that? Like, what were the things that you learned digging deep, building for the community that you can share with this group?
I think one of the biggest things I like to do when I'm coming to a game design document is figure out what games on the platform, or like not even on the platform, but just what games exist that do it well and don't do what you're trying to do well. Like it's good to look at the things that work and the things that do not work, because if you don't see what's failing, then you're never going to see what's also succeeding. You've got to look at a big, broad variety of different genres and games and see what the community actually likes, because like as you said, it's kind of a niche community, Roblox. You might
very large niche.
Very large niche. But it doesn't stick, some people will just leave it instantly, so you really have to know what players like and how they can instantly kind of hooked on to that genre that you're trying to get at.
to add on what you say from like the production standpoint, like add on, definitely the Discover page on Roblox is pretty great. The up-and-coming section is really a big, gold mine if you really know how to look into stuff. Like, you just gotta play all the competitive games, just see how they're doing things, and essentially try to figure out the secret sauce and just try to turn it into your own thing. It's like, for example, Doors. There's, the pretty popular horror game right now. There are many people who are trying to essentially recreate it, just copy-paste it into their own little thing, but there's no one who's really like actually catching what's actually causing the game to work, what makes it unique and such. And yeah, you just have to dig into all of those games. There are really amazing games out there, just waiting to discover.
Awesome. Yeah, that goes into your point about experimenting, right? So I mean, obviously you have an idea, a thesis, you want to test it out, about, hey, maybe this is why this.
It's 50%, doesn't matter if it's 15%. Put in effort every day, show up, and that is how you make a career in anything. It's time. Nobody just woke up one day and they ended up where they are. So you have to put yourself out there. Any experience is good experience. I didn't even start off programming for the first few years. You just have to be in the space you want to be and be in it for a while.
I'd say, this is such a generic answer, but if you're gonna do something, do it. Like, tell yourself you're gonna give yourself a plan, give yourself what that plan is, and then execute. This space of creators and creation is such a self-fulfilling role, and you can either excel at it because you're so motivated, or you can fall into a black hole because you're like, oh, I want to do this, you start piling up. Like, if you're gonna do it, set a plan and start doing it. Even if it's not like perfect, even if it's not anything that you planned it to be, do it, learn from it, and then move on. We have another senior producer in the company that told me this once, and I think it's super, super vital and important. If you think you're gonna fail fast, so you can start over and then do it again. So, it's okay to fail.
That's great advice. So I think we have a little bit of time left. If there's any questions, we can kind of bring the mic out to people and try to answer.
Hi, my name is Molly. I had a question. I work for an advertising agency and we focus on travel destinations, and I have been pushing some kind of like Roblox or Fortnite or some kind of gaming collaboration with some of our clients. I was wondering what kind of information you, from the other side, would be looking for in that kind of partnership.
So you mean like, just to clarify, so you convince the client they should do this, right? And then they need to be able to tell a developer what they want to do, succinctly?
Yeah, and what kind of information might be helpful to kind of sway them to be interested in a partnership and how we can be best prepared to support that?
I think it comes down to like what is the company's goals, like what's the client's goals? Do they want to reach 100 million people, or do they want to build a persistent experience? Do they want to just do a one-off event? So it really comes down to like what do they want to do, who's their target audience, and if they have any suggestions or ideas of how they can incorporate their own brand ideas into it. We love to work directly with brands. They pitch us ideas, and we love to pitch things back and try to come up with a collaborative solution that best fits what would work with that company.
Yeah, typically, just to sort of like add to that, I mean, typically that process would be, if you build an RFP, for your client, and then get that over to a developer. There's probably, you can Google development studio RFP, and there's probably a template out there that you can use. But you should certainly be like things like what is the audience, what are your brand goals, and budget and timing. I think are all things that are definitely needed at least in there.
And timing, I think, is a really big one because a lot of people want things done yesterday.
No problem.
Thank you for your time today. I had a quick question about, I develop games in Unity, but I'm very interested in the Roblox space. Do you have any tips or roadmap ways for people to transition from Unity, Unreal into Roblox? Or should we just stay where we are? Or yeah.
Well, there is definitely no like full roadmap that you can go to. Like you don't have to like 60, 90 day like place where you gotta be. Definitely, just it's something you have to experiment with, play around with the tool. From personal experience, trying to dabble into Unity and Unreal myself, Roblox Studio is very similar, like a lot more simplified, so you should not have problems and probably issues like starting off. You just might need to learn Lua if you are like specifically a programmer. Yeah, so like there's a lot of great resources out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't say should. There's no should or shouldn't. Like to their point, like if Roblox has the community and has the right tool set for the thing you want to see out in the world, then you should do it, right? I think there is. These guys have talked a little bit about imposter syndrome and like very like are we legitimate developers because we're not on these other platforms, we're not using these tools, and that's just absolutely not true. I know because AAA companies come to me and ask me about how they can get on Roblox, right? So it's basically just, again, what do you want to achieve, right? To the other person's question, if that's where your audience is and it fits within the community, then go there, make something.
I think another valid thing to consider with Roblox is they pay for your server hosting. You have a built-in community ad system built in. It's not the best for every single game scenario, but if you want to make something that fits onto the platform, it makes sense as a sort of quick session-based game that people can spend some time in. It could definitely work on Roblox. And Roblox games, they don't even need progression. There's a lot of games that are just sort of like just playing with dolls online. So yeah.
I guess I also just want to add on to with a lot of AAAs that have come over that I've worked with and stuff, they adapt actually relatively quick to Roblox Studio. Maybe a hard couple days, but after a little bit, they're just as fast as me after that now.
Cool. Any other questions? This guy's trouble. Don't give him that.
Let me get ready here.
Well, I'm Mordecai, and that's my name, and I do a little bit of Roblox. I do develop a little bit. I have some coding lessons. And I don't have a team or anything, so is there any tips? Because I know you've probably been there at some point, being a very small developer. And is there anything you...
So it's like a solo developer. What should you do to start? Like what are good things to do to get going?
Yeah.
I mean, take it slow. That's the biggest thing. Is I at one point I tried to jump in and make the biggest game ever. It's gonna be Zombies Universe. It's gonna have 100 maps and 1 million guns and 10,000 vehicles. But I quickly found out that I wasn't capable of doing that myself. I like to because I'm not a programmer now still, but I like to still make my own showcases, and I like to, because on Roblox it doesn't need to have a fully programmed game to make it a fun experience. I like to just build a nice little map, and then there's lots of tools and resources within Roblox for the toolbox. You can get free scripts, free items to use in your game. So I know there's a lot of people that have actually built pretty much fully developed games just from using the toolbox and kind of learning how to piece things together without any real experience of how to code or even how to build. It's just putting it all together, making it fun basically.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of really amazing developers started off solo, and the beauty of Roblox is you have a really strong community that wants to support that. So if you go on the forums, if you go on copyright-free assets, you can use those to kind of play around in your development. And you already started learning and coding and developing, so I mean, between you and I, you're already ahead of me, so but you have a lot of good opportunities and a lot of, you just need to go on Google, look it up, and be like, where can I get these kind of assets? What do I need? If you want some tangible advice, make a list. Really understand what it is you want to put into your development and what you want. And you'll physically see, because I'm also a visual person, you'll physically see I need this, and then you can kind of objectively figure out where you want to go. So great start already though, so good for you. I should probably learn, honestly.
It's kind of down to what Paul said, well, you can, like, once you start putting all this together, you can start working on the game on your own. Like, you don't have to start off with someone right away if you actually do want to, like, work with someone. You can start working on the game, and then you can reach out to other people on the dev forum, or in your case, it would have been the Talent Hub. And be like, hey, I'm starting to work on this. This is what I got so far. If you're interested, just reach out to me, and you can start just talking to other people. And who knows, maybe you might find someone who's really great to work with.
Just add on to that, actually, that's pretty much how I got into all my projects originally. Was I was working on it and someone else came across it, was like, hey, that's pretty cool, can I help? And we just started working on it together. Actually, like, I think Zombie Universe, the one that flops, is back in 2014. It's been like, it's been like 6, 7, 8, 9 years since, and the coder that was with me then is acting them actually now. We're working on another game together. We're on Stun Belt actually this time, so.
It's a small world. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I wanted to basically sort of sing the same tune that Taylor just said. So, being solo is awesome, and it's definitely a viable thing. You can be a solo developer for sure, but I think a very useful piece of advice is just find one friend that does something that you don't do, and just team up, and you can try and make games together. You don't even have to do it at first. You can just, like, for example, I was a coder. I would just spend a lot of time programming and not really building anything, just making like scripting showcases, and eventually you can find someone to team up with. Because as a programmer, I'm not very creative. I can't build maps or anything. You can definitely release a game by yourself. I wouldn't discourage it, but I think you're limiting yourself slightly if you're just going 100% solo.
Or nothing else, just to find someone to bounce the audience, right? Like, if you kind of collaborate.
Or even just a friend to test your game and be like, hey, can I have another second set of eyes on this?
Any other questions? All right, well, thanks everybody. Hope this
just because it's gotten so big, but it's really, my involvement early on in server especially was crucial to setting those norms, like what I wanted a community to become. That really was so important, but also I think a lot of creators don't understand like the strategic value behind having a community. If you think about it from a purely marketing perspective, there is really no substitute for having all of your most engaged audiences in one place. That's like a marketer's focus group dream, right? It's become so crucial for me to have video ideas and figure out product ideas and concepts on how I want to take my film's direction, because I have all of this information on my audience's pain points and what they're struggling with, and I can answer that in my content.
For me, seeing the value of consistency, because me and consistency, we are always fighting. So I was at a point with my community that I had some of my community coming up to me in person and being like, you're inconsistent. I said, whoa, well, I didn't even think you noticed. And so that was like a wake-up call for me, to like that my community is something that I need to be consistent with, and that I need to have like a certain amount of time that I spend with them instead of just being like erratic like I usually am. So.
Yeah, and I would say that, you know, my community is kind of an extension of me. You know, we all have kind of the same humor, we kind of act the same a little bit. So you want to always have those people that are kind of sort of like you gravitate towards you. You don't want people that don't, you know, share the same like values as you in your community. So that's why I also have a really strict moderation team, especially in mine, because we want to make sure everyone feels safe in the Discord.
I didn't think I'd have to kick people out. Like, I didn't think I'd have to do that, but you do. Like, sometimes you get the wrong people there. It's like, oh, I have to actually ban someone. That kind of sucks, but you're like, you know, I'm expecting that.
Cool. Hope everyone's taking notes. These are words of wisdom. So I think we all believe in the value of nurturing a community and also building an audience, but I often hear these two words used very interchangeably. Maybe Hannah, I'll toss this one to you. You've been a very long-time creator and community owner at this point. In your opinion, what is the difference between these two, and how do you think about serving the two groups differently?
Yeah, I think audience and community sound sort of similar, but they are very different. I would say my audience is kind of just the general whole of everybody that has ever watched me or engaged with my content. But community is really the people that take the time out of their day to consistently make comments or consistently be in your stream and are typing. The chatters that you remember their name. You know what I mean? And I think that is so special because you kind of get to know people one-on-one versus the audience is still so special to me. But that's like you can't physically meet every single person, even though you want to. So yeah, I think the audience is just the big picture, and then the community is the small niche group.
I think of it as like if you go to a concert, or like there's a concert out in public somewhere, you have the people who are just kind of walking by and stop to kind of stare and see what's happening. They don't really know you, they don't care about you, but they might like, the music's chill or whatever, and they enjoy it and they go on their way. That's more of like the audience. And the community are the ones who know who you are, know when you're performing, and came there to see you, and that's what you want to build. And you can convert those audience members into community members, but it takes time and intentionality. So that's what I'd say the difference is.
That's good.
Mic drop. All right. Well, Grace, I got one for you then. Last year at VidCon, you went pretty viral for an unexpected reason. Would actually love to hear from you about that experience and what it taught you.
Yeah, for sure. So what he's referring to is I had a meet and greet, and it was a video where no one showed up. I didn't think it was gonna blow up, but maybe that video had 40 million right now. So it was like very much like an out-of-body experience for me because internalizing like everyone's perceptions and their like thought pieces on it was a lot different from mine because I didn't care. Because I was at a point at my creation journey where I was still struggling with that consistency. And so that was part of what I learned from it. And I also learned the power of virality because that's where like there was a big audience, but it was not as big of a community for that video. So there's like a lot of people that don't even know that I do comedy, but know that me for that video. And so it allowed me to better learn about like branding and how to like grow my audience to a point where I can like comfortably do like meet and greets and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I'm a comedian, so I take everything, I make the funny out of it. So, I was laughing, but yeah.
And what ended up happening by the end of that VidCon?
By the end of it, all my friends that like I showed the video before posting it, they were like, I felt so bad because you were laughing when you showed it to me and I was laughing when you were laughing, and I was like, it's okay, it's fine. But I mean, there's a lot of people that like found out about me through the video and I'm able to get brand deals. So everything turns out for good.
Yeah, I think it's a great point that virality is very important and it lets you get in front of new audiences and really grow your following and your reach, which is awesome. From your perspective, how should creators in general think about balancing making content for new audiences for that viral moment versus content that is more catered to their existing audience?
I personally have found that whenever I share like my feelings or my like thoughts on things really passionately, that seems to be what oftentimes turns people into more community members. It's kind of like, that's one instance where people are like, oh, you're not just like this funny guy. It's like, oh, we're similar. Like, oh, you also love Loft House sugar cookies. Or like, you also don't really understand all the hype about Star Wars. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Or you do get the hype about Star Wars, you know? But whenever you share like your opinions and like your feelings on things, that's what oftentimes converts like somebody who's just passing by enjoying like the moment or the art you're making to someone's like, oh, they're like me. I want to get a little closer to this, you know? That's where I found it's really like constant change. And whenever you have those viral moments, it's great, but I think it's also smart to follow up viral moments with like personal moments too. Like if you have a video that's going viral, share something about yourself, or like spend time responding to all the comments. I think those are some really good points that can help.
Yeah, for me, I like to host a lot of events, and it's really, really fun. So.
And I think for me, it took a lot of work to figure out how to convert my audience members into community members, just because the content that tends to perform really well for me is very different from community-focused content. And like my audience-focused content is educational, right? And like those viewers are in kind of an information extracting mode where they want an answer to a problem they're facing. They want a solution to something. Whereas my community members are really just invested in me and my journey as an artist and a creator. And so I had to kind of mix formats in a way to kind of mix those two things together so that everyone is a little bit satisfied and people could get to know me a little bit better as a person and also get the information they were looking for.
For my community, just allowing it to be a place to have a more like intimate level of a connection with me, as opposed to the like normal skits and comedy impersonations that I post on my other platforms, is what they really are invested in. Like more like behind the scenes is what they really enjoy. Like they really check in on me. Like I'm about to start crying. Take it, girl, take it back.
I do think there's this common theme of the broad-reaching content being the hook of them becoming aware of you, interested in you, wanting to get to know what you're about, what your community is about. And the community itself is really like going deeper and really developing that relationship. And that's something that's kind of different for every creator, and you have to kind of experiment to figure that out. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, just real quick on that, I have tried to copy other people's formats for how they connect with their community. It does not work like that. I have found that communities are as individual as like you are and your thumbprint. So like what works really well for somebody else might want to stream for like 30 hours a week, and I hate sitting at my computer. I hate it so much. So for me, just sitting there streaming with them like that doesn't really work for me. But if I'm out and about somewhere, then like doing it like that can work really great for me to engage with my community, or putting up polls even on like my stories on like Instagram or something like that, and hearing what they're saying, and then making content specifically around that. And my favorite, obviously, getting into Discord and like actually playing games with them for like 3 hours or something like that is another great way. But I don't stream it. We just hop on Discord, we all talk to each other, and we just play that way. So whatever way is most exciting for you or most refreshing for you, I think you should build that around your audience, or at least that's what my experience has been really helpful.
Cool. Let's do a follow-up on that actually. So what is an example of, you know, after spending all this time in the community, what is an example of a time when your community helped you, right? Make a decision about your content, right? Impacting your creative decisions or your business as a creator?
Answer really quick because I'm talking too much. But we started doing like contests every week where I had my moderators like host a competition in my Discord, and they submitted their best memes, right? So then I followed that up. It's pretty simple, but I followed it up, and every week I would make a reaction to my Discord's best memes. Very simple content, but my Discord feels involved. They get to learn like my humor, I get to learn theirs. We all get to kind of line on that and have fun. And I was like excited to see like, what they had stocked up in the Discord for that week, and it was always very, very funny. Made great content, but I always shouted them out. I'm like, oh, this one was sent in by so and so, so they felt seen and heard. And that is some way that that's a new vein of content that I have that I really, really enjoy.
Yeah, so I post a lot of Minecraft like clips where I'm fighting other people and it's like funny trap troll type of stuff. Yeah, a lot of my community, they send in suggestions. We have a suggestions channel, and they'll be like, Hannah, like I thought of this brand new idea. I was wondering if you could try it. So I'll try that, and then I'll post it, and I'll shout them out, you know. But yeah, the suggestions channel is really huge for thinking of stream ideas that they want, maybe a cooking stream or really anything, a new game that they want me to play. That's really, really useful to me.
Okay.
It is not so crazy to get and live billions of people are on the planet. You only have to get several 100,000 of them. That seems like a big number, but it's really not. It's very achievable. You just have to make lots of stuff, look at what you made, think about how it can be better, and then just keep making things a little bit better, a little bit better. And don't worry about one not doing well. We make things that don't do well. Some things do great, we don't know why. You just kind of have to keep making. I was making videos on YouTube for 4 or 5 years before I started working at BuzzFeed, and there are plenty of videos that I made on that platform that still have 45 views. They have just never been found, and that's not my fault. Some platforms, it's just that's your fault. It's your fault. It's all your fault. Your fault. And I think find a platform that serves what you want to make, find the thing you want to make, and just make a lot of it. Zach, do any of that? He crunched that. Keith crunched the video.
That know you personally, they aren't really surprised by what you're doing because it's already naturally who you are. I know me personally, the people that I grew up with that I haven't seen in years, when they come across my content, they'll just be like, yeah, that makes sense. You would go viral for something like that.
You know what, like, Secret Service movies are from so good. I know, like, that's so cool.
Secret Service movies? How many of those are there?
There's a few. There's Vantage Point with Forrest Whitaker.
Yes.
And then there was
Gerard Butler.
Yeah, and like literally. And then right now Netflix has the which one? Not that one. The Diplomat. It's not Secret Service, but it's still kind of political and like drama too.
So you can be a little bit flexible.
Yeah.
All right, do we have any other questions here? I'm getting my steps in.
Hi, totally random, has nothing to do with TV or movies, but if you were an ice cream flavor, what ice cream flavor would you be?
Rocky Road.
I use so much mint chocolate chip, I think I could turn into mint chocolate chip ice cream, so I would say that. I would probably say cookies and cream, because that's my favorite, so.
All right.
And I guess mid-roll ads, did that like cut down on the amount of views that your video had like over time? Like, did that like have any impact?
Yes, to the first question, you should be able to, I feel like you can get subscribers gained by content pretty easy.
Yeah, let's chat. YouTube, depending on where you're clicked on or off to
displays it weird sometimes, and they like to like hide certain data if you have something turned on or off. So it might just be a matter of like some goofiness there and just having it click, and it's like, oh, now it's all of a sudden revealed. It's frustrating sometimes. You got to know where to turn over those stones.
Yeah, there's it's I think it's like behind one of those show more advanced tabs. But yeah, we can talk after about like where you see that. We can try it. The Wi-Fi here is pretty bad. But yes, and then what was the other question? Sorry, what was the other question?
It was about pre-roll ads. Do pre-roll ads and mid-roll ads affect like the account like over time? Like, have you seen a difference between we have them on and we have them off?
Generally speaking,
I think so. I think if you can have ads turned on, it's beneficial to your content because it's like you're splitting rev with YouTube. So while there's nothing in the algorithm that says if you have ads turned on, you'll get more views, but my conspiratorial mind is like, yes, you should probably have ads turned on.
I definitely do not buy into that. However, YouTube is actively incentive to keep people on the platform as long as possible. So generally speaking, a couple of things to keep in mind. One, at this point, audiences, to an extent, are willing to say like, fair play, I'm getting this for free, I will watch some ads. Most people don't like look at a mid-roll ad and go like, well, the hell with this, I'm out. It can if you have very long comments. So if I have like a lo-fi 12-hour thing, and there's an ad in the middle of it, it sometimes might pull them out of the experience in a way that's like, oh yeah, like I'm done with what I was doing, and switch away. And so in that way, it could harm like a very long video like that. I haven't found that it like really upsets a viewer in a big way. I think for a while, like there were some people doing like custom placements. If you did like one like every minute, that can look annoying. Even like just from the standpoint like if you saw all the little yellow lines and you're like, no, I'm not doing that. But and that's with the idea that like YouTube's generally pretty good about like having a refractory period after somebody's watched an ad. They won't get one again too quickly. So in general, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Like your attention is another thing. Like if you're fearful that it is impacting the viewership, then check your attention and also try to place those mid-rolls and like intelligently place them if you know you're going to have a mid-roll on the video because it's long enough. Try to lead them into that so it kind of smoothens out that jarring experience.
More and more damage off CCTV shots that are relatively doesn't waste any time. There's also
Alright, everyone, look at your tickets. The number is 3, 1, 7, 3, 5, 6. Shoot up the dog.
Oh, do I see a winner? Who's this signed by?
You get a free hat. Who signed it? That's Noah.
That's Noah! Signed by Noah! Let's see. Would you want the honor of reading who wins your?
I would love to. Thank you. The number is 3, 1, 7, 2, 7, 0. Can you tell me it's a voice already? 1, 7. Let's make it go. Leave your dreams. Thank you.
Alright. Is this the final one?
And this is a good one because it was signed, but can we read the signatures here? Who submitted this? Was this your submission? Would you like to explain what this is?
This is the jab. I have no idea where we got this, but Zachary Levi also held it, so that's crazy. Signed by me, Ian, and Anthony.
Can I give a little hack to anybody who gets this? Don't just punch out like this, swing it from the top. It gets maximum art. It's insane. You will hurt you soon.
We've had that one for a while. That's been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so his
long time, bro.
Okay. And the number is 3, 1, 7, 0, 3, 3.
I thought the guy eating was
And we can't wait to show you our sketches. It's gonna be a good time. So, love you all. Thank you so much.
So they were teaching and you I haven't followed the singer.
So